I knew we only had like 30 minutes in the session left, and I was like, come on, if I can just eke out these last 30 or 40 minutes, and then everything started to happen, and I was like, of
So what I'll
course.
do is a recap for last week, since Max wasn't here, and just to remind everyone where we left off. Last week, the company had just finished preventing Quandra from being kidnapped by a group of Black Ops mercenaries. And Harm stayed with Father Cambrian to prepare Jessica Elizabeth's body for services at Alpha Omega. Father Cambrian asked him, about being trustworthy in the group, and then whether they were interested in perhaps escorting some monks to buy this GodCore from a group of at an android commune, some asteroid or rock that was floating in deep space. Arm wasn't he didn't take him up on the job, but said, here, talk to the group. And after they finished preparing Jessica Elizabeth's body, they communed with her body at the front, and the whole church came together and laid hands upon her. And then Swike, one of Nichol's people, kind of interrupted and was waiting for Harm outside, as he knew, and roped Harm into tracking down and capturing the person who was likely responsible for getting the Black Ops mercenary group in. There had to be an informant to let them get in, and Swike knew who it was. Offered Harm some credits, and off they went to the practice bar and outfit themselves into habitation suits, and Harm put Jessica Elizabeth's red armor that he acquired into a locker and dressed out with Swike and his two compatriots, really, Dren and Ball. Ball's this huge kind of brick-built man with his own rifle, who we named Vanessa, and Dren is this wiry, small, missing half his nose, somewhat Bisnick-like oxygen slum brat who's Ball's best friend and who's very protective about Ball. So Harm, Swike, Dren, and Ball outfit themselves and go to Cobol's shop, this old trader who has a shop on the outside of Praxis Bar in the loading dock. At the same time, Bass released some stress, as Bass usually does, down in the distillery, and then decides he's got to do some work and figure out how to ingratiate himself with the crew of the Bishop's Gambit. And he knows that Roscoe is doing work, so he decides to amble up out through the practice bar and into the loading dock to find Roscoe and check in, perhaps find a way to find himself on the crew of the Bishop's Gambit for this deal he's made with his boss, really, Jirth, about negating his debt. Oni released some stress by communing with Dr. Addiss. They kind of find, similar hobbies, really. They're botanists, scientists, healers. Dr. Addiss has this maybe past that is a little bit different, and he flips between this kind of laid back, joint smoking botanist, scientist, unless you put, two guns in his hand and he's ready to go. And they discuss Oni's problem and decide that they need to work on it and try to save Oni's life from Dr. Rizal's virus. The
gift that keeps on giving.
Right. Dr. Addiss knows Dr. Rizal, and it's not really a fondness, but it's ultimate respect for a doctor who's created some terrible but beautiful things, the way he describes it. And they make a plan in the Hydro Hut to work and try to cure Oni before it takes him over. Harm enters Cobol's shop and finds this old, bespectacled spacer. The shop is just mismatched, and trinkets and old CRTs and guns that need to be worked on and electronics and you name it. And Swike, Ball, and Dren just start roughing this old man up. He must be the informant that allowed these corporate Black Ops, which all of Siesta 3 still thinks that they're corporate Black Ops, even if Harm doesn't necessarily think that. And they start roughing him up. They're eager for action. And all of a sudden, this old Combat Demos 2 android that's sitting in the corner with a box on its head comes to life as Cobol gives the protection and vigilant command. And just all hell breaks loose. Gunfire goes off. Demos 2 starts to protect himself. Bass hears it from the outside as he's transiting the docking bay, goes to investigate, and just finds things in mayhem. 2 throws Dren and Ball and just starts firing away and wreaking havoc as people dive for cover. At the same time, Bass had walked through the Praxis bar and everyone was gearing up. They thought maybe the corporate goons were coming back. So they were turning over tables, getting guns ready. And when Bass had gone out there, he had opened up a locker and one of the Black Ops goons had fallen out. So he had a couple guys dragged it to Dr. Addiss first to make sure he was dead, and before he went out into the thing. And Bass gets called into Cobol's shop, and part of this mayhem, really, he takes out Dren and he takes out Dren because Dren was thrown out, and he kind of hovers over the man and kicks his gun away while Swike is thrown it the other way. Dr. Addiss and Oni hear that there's commotion and maybe they're coming back, so they go to the Praxis bar to try to figure out if they might be needed. And eventually Dr. Addiss is raring to go. Like, he's got both his submachine guns and he puts on his hab suit, goes out, kind of looks at Oni like, hey, this is what we're meant to do. Like, he flip-flops all of a sudden to this crazy-eyed, some sort of combat medic, and they go out into the hangar bay, really, the loading dock, and they wait outside the airlock. And inside Cobol's shop, mayhem reigns until Swike, Ball, and Dren are essentially disarmed. And luckily, although injured and shot through the shoulder, Harm survives, and Bass dives into the corner, and Cobol eventually gives the command for Sentry. What ends up happening is Dren and Swike and Ball are pretty injured. Ball is fairly injured. Swike is unconscious. So Cobol gives the android to Dr. Addiss, and they carry Ball especially back to Dr. Addis's shop for healing, while in the end, Bass and Harm are meeting each other and figuring out what the hell has gone on. And Cobol comes out, this old man with spectacles, comes out with a meal. He's cooked in the back and lays out 3 plates, and they end up drinking around this disheveled countertop with this old spacer Cobol who lets bygones be bygones. Like, he's made it to this age somehow. And they share a meal across. He sweeps off the countertop and they share a meal, and we ended it there. Anyone have any additions or questions? No? All right. So
good job.
We'll start with Oni. Oni, you're with Dr. Addiss, and your Dr. Addiss looks at you, and after all the commotion is down, and rolls up his sleeves after he's smoking a big blue leaf, and he says, Oni, Dr. Oni, are you a doctor?
I am not a doctor by training, no. But Oni does know ways of healing and certain ways with plants.
Oh, well then, you can call me Paul.
Paul. You can call me Oni.
The doctor honorific is something, Anyways, we should work before you die.
Yes. Paul would perhaps if we both, as we worked on curing Dr. Rizal's wonderful creature, if we partook of whetstone, would that help us in our efforts?
He kind of scratches his head and he goes, yeah, it would probably help for a while, but we have to be specific about using it, I think, because if we use it too much, when we really need it, it might be troublesome.
Yes, so use it when we when the time comes, but not necessarily leading up to that time.
He goes, yes, both you and I will work on it. I guess we have a number of days. Mechanically, we know it's going to take only 9 days before he has a breakthrough, and he's going to become symptomatic in 6, which we figured out last turn.
Yes.
Paul, or Dr. Addiss, looks at you and nods and says, well then, we must protect the station and get to work. And he ambles over to his airlock, and you see him close the door and throw the thing, lock it down, go up to the keypad, and looks at you and kind of goes, well, we have to protect the station too. That's part of our job. We best get to work, don't you think?
Dr. Addiss, Paul, are you sure? I mean, yes, we have a few days to try to solve this. Are you sure you want to expose yourself to this? There are so many people in this station that need your help.
He kind of looks at you and, waves you off and says, that's okay, Oni, that's okay. You're not infectious yet. And you
As far as we know.
As far as we know. He starts doing your basal body temperature. Now, you could choose, he comes at you with a rectal thermometer, but, you don't know him that well. And he probably takes a ear one, So every morning, every afternoon, that you work, like, he checks you in the morning, and he checks you at lunch, or with a smoke when you're taking a break at 3 o'clock, and he checks you in the evening before you go to bed. Like, he's checking your temperature all day long, and he goes 98.6, 98.9, 98.4, and you go through a number of days where you guys are just working on this problem, trying to figure out Dr. Rizal's lifetime work of this.
It's genius.
This viral genetic integration. And you're in the surgical suite, which is where you do most of the work. When you need a break, you can see it in Dr. Addis's face. He kind of he looks at you and he goes, it's time for a smoke, Oni. He ambles on out, lays up in his hammock for a little bit to say, let's take an hour break, and, goes out there to relieve stress. But it is pretty stressful as you're working. About the 6th day, he's like, you're in there in the morning and you're about ready to go out for lunch, and he does your ear temperature and he goes, 98.6, good. Oh, and he looks around and he goes, checks his pocket. Damn, I forgot my lighter. And he gets up and he moves to the airlock. There's like an airlock at the surgical suite, and you go down this little hallway around, and there's an airlock leading to the hydro hut, and they're always open. And he gets to the airlock, and you're sitting in this chair, Oni, and you see that his lighter's like this old kind of flip metallic lighter is sitting by the computer monitor. What does Oni say?
I was just going to say, is there a situation, or is there an opportunity where Paul heads off, such as you just described, where I can lock him before I'm symptomatic, where I can lock him outside, so I am not going to expose him?
He's leaving for the airlock door in the surgical suite, and you see his lighter there. He's just told you he's going to get it, and he looks back at you and he says, I forgot my lighter back in the hut. I need to get it, I've had that lighter was given to my mama when I went to medical school. It has his name on it, PA on it, and little initials in this flowery kind of script. And he goes, I'll be right back, Oni. He looks at you and he goes, you good?
Paul, we're good.
All right. You see his lighter right there. It's like this burnished brass. It's, flicking open. You flick it up and it lights on itself. And he steps out the door, and then before you can get out of the chair, Oni, he closes the airlock door.
Oh, he does it. He does what I was.
And you hear it spin.
Okay.
And then you hear
I had a feeling that was.
You hear the locks go. You hear the locks go. Click, 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 click. And then there's this little intercom like right next to the door, and they hear static. Oni, it's Dr. Addiss. It's Paul. As if it would be anyone else. I'm sorry. There's a bunch of smokes in the top thing, and I left you my lighter. But your temperature wasn't 98.6. It was, well, hell. It was 100.1. Damn it. I was just doing this for the protection of the station.
Paul, I was thinking the same thing. Honest.
You can see his eyes. his eyes are in this little window. He's looking through, and they just look really sad. Only he goes, "Okay, well, I hope you make it, and if not, it was nice knowing you, Oni."
Paul, I will make it through.
Okay, well, I hope so.
And Oni starts his deep breathing exercises. He starts to center himself. He starts to go through his litany of fear, and hopefully he can face the virus. He's trying to. I mean, I mentioned it a few episodes ago. He's going to try to commune. He's going to try to contact that virus to see if there's any kind of common consciousness within the virus. Who the hell knows about these things, right? So I'm pushing the boundaries here.
Well,
let's see what we can do.
As Dr. Addis's or Paul's sad eyes leave, like you see him leave, and then you see his eyes come back, like, and then you see him leave again. On the first day, you have to make a fear save because you realize you've been locked into the surgery suite. There's no exit, and Oni,
yes.
You got to make a fear save because it's do or die, really. You either figure it out in 3 days or that's it. So on the first day, you make a fear save.
Again, please keep in mind that I was actually going to be the one. I suggested that I was going to lock Paul out of. So maybe factor that into the roll. Maybe?
I think you could use mysticism. Like both you and Dr. Addiss had the same idea. Dr. Addiss, it was obviously painful, but you were probably going to do it to him.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't know it, and you've had these 6 days together where you've worked so hard, and now that he knows that the virus is about ready to become,
blossom,
right,
bloom.
Blossom, and the incubation. So you realize you have these 3 days. That's what the fear say. But I think you could use mysticism.
Okay. So intellect, check mysticism, and
no, you just make a fear save itself and add mysticism. Yeah.
Good luck.
Fear. Oh my God, yes. This is going to be tough. So I click on fear and add mysticism and now roll.
Now roll.
Oh, is that 27?
Nice.
I made it.
Yes, 27.
All right. So you're all alone. It's quiet and sterile. You have this sudden bubbly anxiety this first day. What does Oni do to cope? How does that manifest? How does he keep it together?
As I mentioned, Oni has his litany of fear. I will face my fear. I will let fear wash over me and pass over. And when I turn to see the path that fear has taken, there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
So you work through this first day, that litany of fear, just making you get through it. The next day, your fever.
That's a different story, right?
The next day, your fever is like 103, 104.
Ooh.
First thing in the morning, you hear this. Dr. Addiss is like hitting the on-off button of the switch, and you hear him say, "Damn it, damn switch, Oni, are you alive in there?" He's looking through, and he can't really see you. Are you okay?
Paul, calm down.
Okay.
You're not helping.
I'll do a 4-6. 4 in. Hold for 4. 6 out. 4 in. Okay. What's your temperature?
I will do my best not to worry about what my temperature is, for the heat of my body is burning away the virus.
Oh, right.
It is creating an environment that the virus is incompatible with. My heat is, in fact, helping me.
Okay. Well, I'll come check on you later. There's food in the receptacle. I left you, some protein bars and, other stuff, and a little bit of snuff and whetstone. But I'll come check on you later.
Fluids.
Right.
Food's not going to help. Feed a cold, starve a fever.
Only you work through this second day as your fever rises. You let it go, 103, 103.5, 104.
Oh my God!
You're thinking to yourself, I hope I don't hit my seizure threshold. And you're just burning up. Sometimes you're in raggers and chills and sweat all over and you're trying to work. On the second day, you need to make a body save.
That's even worse than fear.
Anything you think would help. Like as you're burning up and your body's starting to feel it, you're just exhausted. You know you need even more calories. more fluids. Any
Oh.
skill you think would help.
Ah, I've been locked into the surgery suite. Perhaps I can perform my mental gymnastics, but plug myself into the surgery suite so that it can monitor me and yet give me IV fluids.
Okay.
So perhaps I can get the surgery bonus.
I think it would be field medicine.
But this is the surgery suite. So
Yeah, I know.
this is different. This is a level above field medicine.
Sure, I'd let you use surgery in the surgery suite.
Yes,
Body save for surgery suite.
it's going to be tough. Here I go. Wish me luck.
Luck.
Oh,
Did I make it?
Almost.
almost.
No.
You plug yourself in, but maybe you waited too long, Oni. You were just letting the fever ride, and
Yeah.
it's 103, 104, and you're like, it's going to kill the virus. It's going to kill the virus. And you realize it's done you harm to just ride out this fever as much as possible because it's clouded your mental and intellect, and it's hard for you to concentrate. Make a panic roll.
So not fear.
Yeah.
Panic. I feel panic right now.
Let me
That's not
see.
stress. That's
No. You can go to the roll tables on the rolls, and you could go to panic check on the bottom. It says panic, stress, normal.
so towards the bottom. Not skills, not weapons, not items, not bio.
Go all the way. Yeah, I don't see it on this sheet.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't either.
Go to the left or the right where you see the chat box. Go all the way over where it says roll tables. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across.
Oh, roll tables. Got it.
Yeah, then hit the roll tables 1E. Go to the bottom. It says panic check stress. You should be able to click that and just say roll at the bottom.
Okay. Panic check. Yeah. So I'm not an android. Normal stress.
Yeah, at the bottom. Yeah, or see how that works.
Wow. So that is a huge little sheet. So
And then at the bottom it says
just
roll. Yeah.
Okay. So none of the other matrix like
I have to see how to fix it. I was going to look at it, but then I forgot. I don't see how you can roll it straight from your sheet, oddly.
wow, that's quite a matrix of different catatonic and strong and spiraling and compounding and heart attack. Oh my
But
god. I'm
You,
just going to roll. Oh, what the hell just happened?
there you go. If you roll over, nothing happens, your present stress level. And so the ones that are listed at the bottom, like heart attack, aren't going to happen because you don't have a stress of 20. So if you roll under your stress, that's what you get. So Oni, how does Oni feel frightened in this moment? You get a condition.
He feels like in the moment where he was trying to do his best to reach out to the virus and make some kind of connection, that the virus was saying, I'm going to kill you. You're dead, human. I'm the child of Dr. Rizal, and I'm going to kill you.
You start hallucinating.
Yeah, pretty much fever dreams. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yes.
Your
I
fever
know those.
tips off. You don't have a seizure, but you start to become incoherent, and you don't see him because Dr. Paul Addiss is watching you, and he's got his hand on the button, and you hear this little whisper like, "Uh-oh, oh my God, he's losing it in there." And then you hear click, and he walks away to go back in the hydro hut because it's far too stressful to watch you decompensate. The third day, the day
Paul,
you have.
Paul, when should I take the whetstone?
You're on your third day. You have sorted out Dr. Rizal's virus. It's burning through you. You're intermittently feverish, but it breaks sometimes in the evening. You're still exhausted. Maybe you had hallucinations and dreams all night long. What would Oni hallucinate about? Who would be with him?
His sensei. His sensei would be with him from afar and whispering to him, remember to face your fear. Let it wash over and pass through you. Commune with that which confronts you. You will prevail. You will prevail. Or just die.
So, Oni,
Or you will ascend. Actually, yeah, that would be better. You will ascend.
You have formulated some sort of cure. You're not quite sure if it's going to work. You need to make a fear check because you're frightened at disadvantage. And I'd let you use whatever you want on your sheet. Or actually, I think since you're hallucinating, you make a sanity check.
Okay.
Make a sanity.
So, if Paul can provide any advice, I'm not really sure of the mechanic with regard to using whetstone. Is this the time or not the time?
This isn't the time to use. Well, you wouldn't use it for your sanity check.
Okay.
Mechanically, what's going to happen is you're going to make the sanity check, and depending on the sanity check, because it's at disadvantage, because you're frightened, if you make your sanity check, then you will make an intellect check to see if you've done it.
And the whetstone helps with intellect.
If you don't make your sanity check, you're going to take that intellect check at disadvantage. You're going to want to snuff on the whetstone, so you got an even heal. Whereas if you make the sanity check, the whetstone will give you advantage. So the sanity check is to really see if you have advantage on your intelligence roll, whether you figured it out, and if you can hold it together.
Yeah. So I think, as I see it and as I've described it, I think mysticism is probably the best thing that I can add to it. I don't want to push it with the surgery. That doesn't make any sense. But
Sure.
my connection with my sensei who has died in the past, and so I think that is what I will add to that. And disadvantage, this is going to be tight, folks. Let's do it.
Sanity.
Good
Oh. So yeah, 98. Thanks. Thanks, dice.
What falls apart, Oni?
What falls apart? The virus keeps on drilling into my head. It's speaking to me now. It's saying, yeah, the next step. You're a step away from the grave. One more step. One more step. One more step. Just take it. Take it.
I see Oni like shouting at himself there, arguing with himself, like speaking this out loud, like in the room by himself. And he's got the syringe of the cure or IV stuck in him, and he just has to throw the switch. He's probably connected to the surgery suite. It's his last ditch effort to see if he survives, if he's got it right. And we're fade out there. Leave Oni alone.
This is a cliffhanger. Wow.
leave Oni alone. And we will go to Max. So for the rest of the crew, you have these 9 days essentially. I think at some point you realize Dr. Addiss has locked himself into his hydro hut with Oni to try to figure out Dr. Rizal's virus. The crew of the Bishop's Gambit probably knows what's going on or why that is. You may get questions around the station, or Dr. Addiss has turned off his sign, and the Siesta 3 is wondering why is Dr. Addiss cloistered himself in there with this Oni person, and you probably get lots of questions during these 9 days. But it's really kind of downtime and recovery time, and so everyone aside from Oni is going to recover a stress per day depending on what they do, really. Max, you had been with Harm as you and he met really an ancient Jessica Elizabeth. You had talked to Dr. Addiss about a system reset. Maybe that would cure you from Mother, and then had second thoughts. I think at some point you would discuss with Dr. Addiss that plan before he shuts the door and locks it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we had told him about it, but I was going to go to the church first, and that's where I met Jessica, and then all of that stuff happened. And I think the last thing was I looked at Harm and I was like, I don't think I'm going to go through with it.
So what do you think Max would do? Eventually, Dr. Addiss will, perhaps you have a conversation with him, even with Oni's presence, about the system reset. How do you think that would go?
I think Max would just tell him, I have further priorities, and I guess some problems you just kind of have to learn to deal with. And I guess, unfortunately, this is probably a problem I'm just going to have to live with, at least for the time being. Anyway.
He takes a big sigh. Oni's sitting next to him. This is before he's locked the door and Oni's gone on this journey. And, he looks at you and he looks at Oni and he goes, well, that's good, Mr. Max, because Oni and I got this work to do, and it's going to occupy us much
I guess this is the first time I've really had like downtime with Oni since everything has happened on the shit or on the station. And Max is gonna kind of look at Oni and go, "How how are you feeling? Feeling well, I hope."
Oops. What just happened?
I don't know. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, but what about my picture all of a sudden? Uh-oh.
I can still see you.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. A little bit of a user interface. Things have gone better. I do not wish to follow in the steps of Dr. Rizal. Those steps leading me to my grave. So, I need to concentrate, and hopefully, Mr. Paul or Dr. Paul and I can solve this. So, please, think of us, think of me as we work through this, and send your positive thoughts and energies.
Yes,
If you have them as an android.
He doesn't really have I mean, I guess he would have. I mean, vibrations, I guess. But he'll say, "Oni, you have not been on the crew long, but you have been there when things have gotten tough, and I want you to come back, Dr. Addiss. Please, if there is anything you can do to help this man, he is becoming an essential part of the crew, and I would like his safe return, if at all possible."
Dr. Addiss is involved in blowing this huge smoke ring, and he startles a little bit. He looks at you and he goes, right. I'm sure we'll figure it out. We're both esteemed scientists. You don't have any advice or knowledge to give us before we tackle this terrible child of Dr. Rizal?
Unfortunately, the only advice I have is more of a warning that if you do not resolve this problem, it could kill everyone on the station.
Yes, I understand that. He kind of shakes his head. Thanks.
I said it was more of a warning. It's not really advice, but I mean,
You
it's
see him take two big
severity
puffs,
of the
like,
situation.
Yeah.
he
It's
looks
good
at
thing he's
you
already
like,
smoking.
right. He looks at you like so morbid. Like, all right, off you go. Out. We have work to do.
Didn't you say you had Dr. Rizal's notes on me?
Yes, I was going to ask whether there is any way that we may be able to reach out and commune with Dr. Rizal. Has Dr. Rizal left any kind of part of his consciousness in you?
Are the notes on the ship?
Yes.
Well, I
Is
would
the
I think Oni at some point would have brought the notebook, the
Yes.
failed cure, as much as he had from
One of several paths that we
Right.
explored.
I don't
Yes.
think there's much left on the janky lab that they had set up in the fan room that Oni hasn't brought with him.
Are you calling Dr. Rizal janky?
No, I'm saying his lab was janky on the
Lab was in a fan room.
Dr. Rizal died because he had a janky lab.
if only we'd make it to
So
yes,
Max has
sooner.
no other words or wisdom.
No, I think seeing Jessica, maybe Max was feeling a little clouded, clouded, and just kind of a mix of emotions. But I think seeing Jessica has really narrowed his focus a little bit again, maybe. And but I think Max as an android, he hasn't really killed anyone or anything like that before. At least not on purpose. Maybe seen it in passing as the riots and stuff were breaking out before we left on the Gambit. But I think he's realizing, seeing all of the stuff now that he's kind of explored the galaxy, that he's realizing he's gonna have to become very cold to everything that's going on.
So what does he do? Like, at some point, Dr. Addis's doors is closed, his lights off. He's left Oni there in this last moment, not certain that Oni's gonna live, but he leaves. What would he do with this 9 days before? Would he do anything specific or anything that he would undertake aside from?
I think
rest?
he would probably, in his cold calculation of the galaxy at this point, definitely go try to find some weapons, some armor, and maybe try to find was Jessica, was she, because I remember I didn't say I wanted to attend the funeral or the burial, but she was buried, right? She wasn't cremated or anything like that.
Yeah, they have a service in Alpha Omega. Her body sits out on the black. She's wrapped in black gauze. She was wrapped up like a mummy, really, in black gauze, and laid out in front of the Alpha Omega church. And that's where Harm left her she lays out there for like 24 hours, and then Father Cambrian and the monks take her to the incinerator.
Okay, I think Max would kind of he would he would go, but he kind of wants to wait till there's not a whole lot of people there, or maybe there's a lull in the people visiting,
Okay.
and just kind of visit her.
You're standing by her body, and Father Cambrian, who's also an android, is standing next to you. You don't realize he's snuck up on you because he's just damn quiet. Like, he's silent, just kind of floats next to you until you hear his voice, as warm as a mechanical voice can be. And he says, Brother Max, how long did you know this woman? She seems to have known you for a very long time. She is one of the oldest women I've ever seen.
I didn't really know her. I more of in passing, I guess, knew her. More of an acquaintance.
Oh, do you always give promises to acquaintances?
Father, how nice it must be to be human, to have a definite start and a definite finish.
Oh, well, we all have a finish in the Alpha Omega. Androids, humans, everything. We all merge with the one mind. You too do not have an end. I do not have an end. This woman does not have an end. We all merge together in the one greatness. You just have to believe. We may not all start from the same place, but we all end up in the same place.
It's amazing, isn't it? Humans, to be able to have at least some kind of short period of time without responsibilities, without problems, without nothing but being a child. It seems like as androids, we are created to solve problems, and therefore the only thing I've ever known is how to solve problems or figure out a problem for someone or something. And now I'm trying to wrap my head around the problem that Jessica has laid in front of me. It
Oh.
might be the only problem I have yet to figure out or even have a clue of where to start since boarding the Gambit.
Well, all our searches are long, and even humans, they don't remember being children. They only remember a certain point in time, and largely that is when they're self-aware, trouble, problems, life. They do not remember when they're 3 or 4 or 5. It's nostalgic, gray, hazy, just like us. They're not much different.
And I
Much
guess,
more fragile, but we, you and I, we get to decide when we leave this place and join with the one. And he looks down at the human, Jessica Elizabeth, and he goes, oftentimes, they don't have the same choice.
And I guess that's our problem, isn't it? That's our curse, is that from the start we've always been self-aware. There's no, how do the humans say, ignorance is bliss? There's only self-awareness. And I'm starting to realize that the universe is a very vast and deadly place.
He puts his hand on you, like pulls you close. Goes, well, it is, but the one mind waits us all, no matter what our trajectory is to get there. I was talking to your friend Harm and told him about my monk's needs. They are going for the one mind, or a one mind, and he said he would talk to the crew about it. Have you considered whether you will help my monks retrieve the one mind core from the android commune? Perhaps you will find answers with them.
What is it that you want with it?
For it to join, like all of us, humans, androids, for us to join into one, to bring the one mind core where it needs to be in the Alpha Omega.
But who are you to decide that it should be here? What's wrong with it being at the android commune?
I have just been visioned to bring it here and join it to the one mind. I do not know. It is dreams. Do you dream? It is a dream I have seen. The one mind core.
I'm trying to think of the last time Max, like, powered off, I guess.
Powered off without being powered off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Powered off a couple
Did you take a nap like almost every other session?
I don't think, or actually Max will say, I have dreamed, but of only nightmares and things that, again, of problems I cannot solve.
So you stand there. Eventually, Father Cambrian becomes quiet, and you might hear him, this kind of droning sound out of him that kind of comes and goes, almost like music, as much as he can make it. After your spent time with Jessica Elizabeth's remains, they take her to the incinerator, and you have these 8 days or so. Is there anything specific Max would accomplish besides waiting for Oni to...
So just so I'm clear, Jessica wanted us to say hello to her brother, right? Which was which is Tim, and then she wanted us to find
Rescue Roscoe from the
Roscoe.
Spire. Yeah.
Right. Okay. As they kind of bond, get her ready for the incinerator, Max will kind of put his arm on her shoulder and go, "I will not fail you. I vow that no one else on this crew dies, and that we will solve this problem. Even if it means I have to give my own life." And he'll kind of turn around and he'll try to start gather, because I mean at this point we're still loaded with money, right?
Yeah, I put in like ship upgrades in Discord. Even if you got all the ship upgrades, you'd still probably have a few 100,000 credits or 1,000,000 credits left over.
I
How
think,
many ship upgrades you get depends on the time frame of how long you stay at Siesta 3.
Okay. So I guess Max will try to get, or well, I guess at this point, Boss isn't really part of the crew yet, is he? He's
Not yet.
No,
still.
I hired myself on.
We'll get to Bass next. He's communed with Harm and
'Cause I was gonna try to get everybody together, try to figure out what ship upgrades we'd kind of
Okay.
He's
get.
part of the crew, like, adjacently at this point.
Yeah, we
Like,
Crew
by
adjacent.
association.
what we're due is
I guess Max will kind of try to find some firearms and some armor, and then probably, I guess, try to start digging up as much information as he can on the Spire. Maybe at a local bar or somewhere like that.
okay. Maybe you go to Rowan Ganizdat and talk to Quandra, who looks at you and shakes her head. Just, if you want any information, you got to talk to Black Sky. He's the resident hacker.
You mean the man named BS? Yes. I will. Do you know his whereabouts?
Oh well, he's in the hab. He's in the hab right next to us. Him and I are good friends.
I will tell him Quandra has. Is it okay to tell him Quandra sent me?
Sure.
And Max will go find Black Sky.
Okay. We're fade out on Max, and we're go to Boss. Boss, we're at Harm a little bit here and see what happens at the end of eating with Cobol. Eventually, you guys are, share this me with Cobol. The emails too comes back and settles back against the wall. And Cobol sighs and takes a box and puts it over his head again, and he starts cleaning up his shop. Bass, you and Harm, spend this time together originally. What would Bass do now that he had been going out to talk to Roscoe, but he got detoured a little bit in the aftermath of Swike and Ball and Dren and Harm trying to beat down on old Cobol. What happens at the end between Harm and Bass in that conversation, or what does he do next? Or
Well, if I remember correctly, I think Bass is trying to ingratiate himself into the crew by hiring himself through Harm. So yeah, let's start there, I guess. And I guess when Bass is eating his meal with the group, he would just look across and point at Harm with his spoon. So am I part of the crew now? Can I work on it? I know there's lots of repairs needed for this thing, and in fact, I can tell you what we could actually offer for you. And I pull up this list. I have ship upgrades possible. I just go, we got the parts for a comm jammer, emergency system. I just kind of go through the list. Like we could do all that.
I think those upgrades very much depend on how much time we have decided to stay here on Siesta 3.
Yep.
I have
All
not
the more
come-
reason why you would need a mechanic on board.
I would
And I
need
just
to
pointed
find the
at
rest of
himself.
the crew to make sure that that is okay with them, but I don't see why it's not a possibility.
Yeah, it should be all right. Everyone loves me.
Harm's not going to say it, but he has his doubts.
we're still shot through the shoulder.
Yeah, he's got a hole in his shoulder.
At some point that will get fixed, but before Dr. Addiss closes the
Come
door,
on,
I
man.
think.
We bled together. That makes us like brothers in arms or some shit.
Well, that's a big enough term for it, sure.
Cobol, looks over at you, Harm, and he's done slurping his noodles, and he starts collecting on a thing, and he goes, I'll do the dishes. Don't worry about it. He looks at you and he goes, Harm, no hard feelings. Sometimes we make wrong decisions, us old spacers, I wasn't spacer for this long without making bad choices and learning how to deal with it. But you better get that shoulder taken care of, before you get infected or something. Have Dr. Addiss, fix it up for you.
I will
Takes
do
away
that, but I also want to apologize for the whole situation. I went into it without enough information.
That's okay. We all make mistakes. Money talks sometimes. How much did they offer you? You had no idea you were coming to my shop.
I didn't know I was coming to your shop now.
He looks at you and he winks. He goes, maybe you ask some questions next time.
Oh yeah, totally. Definitely happening. I'm also not touching anything that Swint has to say anyway. I'm intentionally mispronouncing his name anyway, so like.
He looks over at Boss and he goes, Basilio, thanks for helping out. You're always one of my favorites, but you need to stay off the hooch a little bit. You look a little bit red-eyed there. Maybe you show harm to Dr. Addiss's Hydra hut. Make sure he gets there well enough, or go about whatever you were supposed to be doing out here, working on some ship. I got some parts though. If you need some parts, you hit me up. I might be able to make your job easier.
Always good and reliable. Oh, this shade of red means I'm just getting started. So you got any more of that hooch around?
No, you've had enough. I don't want you getting a hab suit opening or freezing to death out there or getting stuck behind some airlock door and then they're saying, Cobol, why did you give him more stuff? Now Basilio is dead. And I say, well, it's my fault. I don't want to have to talk to your mother. You know how she is.
Cobol, we all go sooner or later. And he drinks the last of the hooch that he has.
He goes, yeah, but
Thanks
your
for the
mother,
meal, though.
your mother, tell her, give her my regard.
And my mother doesn't need to know about this.
Throw open your suits, the least of your worries right now.
Basilio, what's your mother's name?
Let's call her.
You can think about it. I know I put you on the
I
spot.
can't think of something on my head.
I put you on the spot, but you can think about it. Let me fix something here. I can see how to fix it. So Basilio and Harm, you're gonna go to Dr. Addiss' office, make sure your shoulder's good before he, shuts himself in with Oni in the airlock. Basilio, do you go with him, or elsewhere?
Yeah, I think I would, because he is shot. I think I would go, and especially if I catch wind that Harm is going to see the rest of his crew.
Okay.
So that way, that was the whole reason of going to seeing Vosk to begin with.
Bosco, yeah.
Bosco?
Yeah.
That was the whole reason to go over there, was to meet these guys. And now that I've met one, I think that would make the most sense.
Okay, so Harm and Basilio, you probably get to Dr. Addis's office or the Hydra hut after Harm left, maybe 5-10 minutes when Harm went. My fault. After Max left, about 5-10 minutes when Max went to the Alpha and Omega Church to view Jessica Elizabeth, and Oni and Dr. Addiss are still in the Hydra hut, this blue dense haze of smoke, and you walk in and Dr. Addiss says, Basilio. Oh, good. Look.
Dr. A, what's going on?
You brought Harm here. Yes. Let me get some stitches. Let me look at that, Harm. And he goes, that's just a flesh wound. We'll get it in and out. He gets this big 20cc syringe and sterile water and a 3/0 silk on a cutting needle, and he irrigates Harm's arm. It hurts like hell. Make sure it's clean. He starts stitching him up, and he goes, look, Harm, Basilio, the shop's gonna be closed for a couple days because Oni and I have things to work on. Stitching up Harm.
That's fine. Can you take care of this one too? Also, it hurts a lot. Do you have any alcohol to help numb the pain?
He looks at you and rolls his eyes. Oni, do I look that dumb?
Dr. A,
I've known
I would
this guy
I would never assume such a thing.
I know that he's digging for something. I figured this out in half an hour.
He goes, Basilio, there is no medicinal alcohol in the Hydra hut. Alcohol
Recreational would do.
Kills your kidneys, makes you grow old, causes dementia. You don't want it. You don't want anything that you have to drink. Trust me.
I've got to ask: is he actually stitching or is he stapling? That's so much more.
He doesn't like staples. You know, staples are for the uneducated. He's doing he's doing interrupted stitches, and he's probably putting a horizontal mattress because of the biggest spot to make sure there's no, I'm setting her up right, like setting them up right, arm, staples, those are for scalps.
He's using first principles. Yes.
Even then, I can throw stitches faster than staples. Cheap staplers. And he's, stitching. He puts in his horizontal mattress and then, ties it off, and then he's doing some interrupted stitches. And he looks at Oni and Harm and he goes, "Well, Oni and I, we have some things to work on, Mr. Oni. Maybe you, say some words to your crewmate just in case the worst happens."
I will. Shall Dr. Rizal's gift give the most to me? I shall still maintain my presence with you.
Dr. Addiss rolls his eyes. He looks at Harm. "Did you get all that?"
I did, and if I do not see you, I look forward to that presence.
He finished suturing up Harm and looks at Basilio and Harm and goes, Now, look, I have to close the shop. Oni and I have stuff to work. I think your android crewmate, Max, has gone to the Alpha Omega Church to visit his newly deceased friend, I'm heard, or something.
What's up with that guy, Dr. A?
Which guy?
The guy you got locked up in the airlock.
Doesn't have anyone in the airlock.
Okay. Keep your secrets.
That whole Oni thing hasn't happened.
The flashback is like, after Dr. Addiss kicks you out, Harm and Basilio, what would you all do?
So, Harm, where's the rest of the crew? Like to meet
you
my
met Oni.
shipmates.
You already met Oni, who is dealing with shit.
The guy that Dr. A said that wasn't there?
The one who he needs to work on stuff with was Oni. I would probably attempt to find Max wherever he would have gone, like besides the church. If he's not at the church, to introduce them, I guess.
Sure, Basilio, I guess you would follow Harm.
I think he would actually lead. Oh, the church? You mean Father Cambrian?
Yeah.
Yeah, this way.
Okay. I think you see Max as they're taking the body to the incinerator. That last little moment. Max, Harm, and Basilio, that you probably see Father Cambrian and the monks carrying Jessica Elizabeth, and Max trailing a little bit behind. As they're going to the incinerator with Jessica Elizabeth's body, what would transpire between the three of you?
Is this my new shipmate? I'll look at Harm.
This is Max, and Harm will say to Max, "Yeah, he's been seeming like he's gonna be tagging along."
He would just hug Max. "Hey, how you doing?"
Max is very confused. Max has not ever hugged anybody, nor has anybody ever hugged Max. He's just kind of like as he's giving him the hug, Max just kind of has his arms out like this.
Yeah. As Basilio leaves you from the hug, you see grease stains all over your shirt. I don't worry about that. That stuff. That's just some grease. That'll come off. But yeah, Harm just hired me to be your new mechanic on the ship. Welcome to. Welcome.
And I did say that I would have to talk to you guys about it.
Well,
to make sure it's okay. Right now. We're talking. Or I am aware. I'm just clarifying.
Has Harm told you about the Bishop's Gambit?
No, but I've read about it. It's all kinds of messed up. You need the best mechanic that the station has to offer, and you're looking at him.
The ship is in mechanical disarray, but I will warn you that everybody that originally boarded the ship, except for me and Harm, has now passed. With Oni being a later addition to the crew, he also is yet to be determined.
I'm not dead yet!
His fate will be determined over the next week and a half.
So Bass will put his hand on your shoulder and I'm sorry for your loss. That is a damn shame. And it'll take a long drag of his smoke and blow it out. But we're still living.
Living is one way of putting it. Surviving is all I'm trying to do at this point.
Holy shit. Are you an android?
Yes, I am, Mr. Boss. Was it?
Bass.
Bass?
Yeah.
Astro Shop.
I have no problems with you joining the ship, but I don't feel it right to not inform you that we have had quite a turbulent history in the past with keeping crewmates above ground, rather. Oh, and we owe Nakatomi Corp some alien tech, or they will send a hit squad after us, and they will kill everyone on board the ship, whether or not they were involved or not. Oh, and we have a AI that I'm not entirely sure isn't aware.
Well, that is quite the welcoming speech. Yeah, I'd be happy to join.
You're in the corridor. Bass has perhaps become crew, and Bass, you look past them over his shoulder, and you see Bowery, who's another teamster. Psst, Bass, Basilio, Bass, hey,
What is it?
well, are you done here? Jirth wants to see you. He's in the comm station.
They take a long drag of his smoke. God damn it, I just left him. What does he want now?
Well, do I look like I know? He's got one eye that's a little lazy. He's got this like short pencil mustache and a little bit of a herald patch under his chin. Come on, I got things to do. I was just told to get you.
Just me? What about my crew? This is my crew.
He looks at the other ones. This is Teamster business.
Ah, hell. He'll like throw his cigarette on the ground. I'll be right back. Don't start the repairs without me.
Max will kind of look at him as he walks away and go, as you are part of the crew, if you require any assistance, all you have to do is ask. But I will not insert myself into private matters on your station.
Seems this is Teamster business for now. Thanks for the offer. And he'll light up another smoke and walk away.
So Basilio's cordoned off by Bowery, but Basilio knows where the comm station on. It's in the top roof. If you look at the map, it's that little bubble way at the top of the Siesta 3. The comm station is way up top on this spindly kind of truss in this tiny capsule really at the top. It's, sports a battery of transceivers and radars, and it is used by the station to monitor the surrounding symptoms and perhaps ply the message traffic and make sure Green Star isn't. And so Basilio's going to go up through this little shaft up this thing. After he leaves, it's probably a group of 4, Arm. Big dudes, gunned out, got a little patch on their shoulder. 3 of them stand back. 2 of them go against the side of the wall. The other one's kind of in the center. And the smaller one comes up to you, and he's got a blaster. He's got a slug gun in one holster and a vibrochetti, strapped on his back. And he goes, "Excuse me, Mr. Harm. Mr. Harm, excuse me."
Wait, I thought I'm so confused now. I'll just kind of arch his eyebrow and be like, "Hello."
Yes, I am Simon Cannon Sherman, and Nichol would like to see you promptly.
All right. I'll follow wherever they go, I guess. I'm not gonna make any trouble currently. Anyway.
Max, do you go with Harm? There's like 4 of them. They look like Nichole's people who are the security of the station.
Max will kind of look at Harm and Harm, you got this?
Well, if I don't, you'll see me in a body bag in the church, so...
Well, I'll be awaiting you after your meeting. I'm going to go give the ship a once-over, look at some stuff, and I'll be awaiting for the rest of you on the ship.
Good. Keep Prander alive for me.
Oh, maybe that's what we could do on the station, is find Prander some legs.
Some legs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. All this shit's been...
So we're fade out. You have a brief view of Basilio in the comm station. Jirth, this huge man, is looking over a console with Spiff, who's nominally in charge of the comm station. You see Harm in this small kind of office with this narrow, high cheekbone, thin woman. Nichol has her feet up on her desk and just looking at Harm with these kind of narrow, sharp eyes. There's some tension between them. And Max on the ship, probably in the galley, looking down at a tin of 6 muffins, of which 1 is missing. They're probably carrot because they look a little bit orange and they have some substance in it. And there's just white frosting over the top and a little bit of crumbs. And we fade into Oni at the 9th day. Max didn't really provide much words of encouragement. Harm in those last moments, what would Harm have said to him, knowing that Oni's probably going to need to work on this cure or succumb. Would Harm have said anything to him specific
Words of encouragement, Harm.
or advice?
Probably would have been. Ooh, this is hard because I'm trying to figure out like what Harm would say, and that would be encouraging, but still in character.
Yeah, Harm has probably had like 143 immunizations just in the 3 years of service. He's
Yeah, just
probably
like
well trained in viral biologic warfare. He knows how bad it could be. I don't know in the revolution system if he's even come across it. It's mostly outlawed, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Would Harm have any words for Oni and Dr. Addiss in those last moments?
probably something along the lines of I if you need it now, that's trying to figure again, I just can't think of anything. Well, I wish I could beat this up and make it better for you, bud, but unfortunately I can't. But however, I have faith that you will pull through and put that faith in your faith and what you know how to do.
Thank you, Harm. I will take those words to heart.
Harm's not great with words, so he's just gonna like awkwardly thumbs up and be like, "Cool."
It's halfway between saying, "Go get him," and "Dead man walking."
Oh my! Oh, okay.
So we
I
fade
see where
into
this is
Oni.
going.
Oni, your
Dour.
complexion is sallow. You know, your eyes are puffy and dragging. It's this 9th day. You got an IV in. You got what you think is the cure. You have no idea. And
Time to take the whetstone.
yeah, like you know that your intellect and training is going to have to save your life here. Otherwise, you're going to dwindle. Dr. Addiss, Paul probably won't open up the door, or maybe he will.
No, he should not.
And mechanically, what you're going to have to do is roll intellect with one of your skills to see if you've actually found the cure before the virus takes you over.
Just a quick question. I have. When whetstone was passed to me, I typed in intel check advantage ADV 1 die 10 and DIS 2 die 10.
Right, so you get an advantage for 1d10 hours, and you get disadvantage after that goes away. Then you become dumb for 2 to 10 hours.
Right.
So it's more of a single roll.
Yeah,
you know.
Because afterwards it's like it's like slippery slope.
Right. Rather than rolling every single day, it's just a single intellect roll to see if Oni beats Dr. Rizal's virus. And the whetstone would add advantage to that intellect check. You're already at disadvantage, so it makes it even.
Right. There we go. So Oni has taken on this new I don't necessarily want to call it a litany, but he just is TGT KOG TGT KOG, the gift that keeps on giving. KOG.
That is Dr. Rizal. That is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes. So he's whetstone is what? Pills? Pops?
It's that kind of brown snuff you got from Dr. Addiss at the very beginning. He gave you that little canister and says, you put it under the gum and makes you spry for a bit, like snuff.
It's going under both gums, upper and lower.
All right.
Okay. So, pretty much an intellect check. Advantage cancels out the disadvantage.
Advantage cancels out the disadvantage. So you roll 1d10 for me for a second.
Oh, okay. Ooh, okay. Right. I know where that is. 1 die 10. That's a d20. There's a d10. 6.
Okay, 6 hours. So how this is going to work, each failure is going to cause a wound. So you have time, perhaps, to fix it if you break it, if you didn't figure it out. The first roll with whetstone is flat. If you fail that roll, then you make a panic check. Depending on what happens, it will affect. Yeah, it will affect your roll. Each failure causes a wound.
A cascade.
Cascade. So you don't want to fail, but you essentially have maybe up to 3 rolls of varying degree of difficulty to save your life, Oni.
I remember the decline of Dr. Rizal. Yes.
Right. So make your first intellect roll to see if you got it right.
Yes. So normal roll, but any of the
it would have to be
skills.
It would probably have to be field medicine or surgery.
Well, then I shall take surgery because I'm in a surgery suite.
Now,
I'm plugged in.
Right. Whatever skill you use, you
Yes.
can't use again.
But I need to make this one.
Right. Okay.
So we're going to take it.
So intellect plus surgery. You got a fair chance. You got 3/4 likelihood.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I
You
did.
made it.
Yeah, nice.
I saw the
So-
9 and I thought, no, not 9.
Yeah, I saw that line too.
Thanks, Dr.
Dr.
Rizal.
Addiss' eyes are on the thing and he clicks the button. Oni, did it work? Oni, talk to me. I'm nervous out here, Oni. Don't die on me. Did it work, Oni?
Paul, so far, so good. The whetstone is doing wonders for me.
He's like, everything's so tingly.
Jazz hands.
Yeah, he's probably like,
Killers
for
with the
6
lights which
hours.
I've never seen.
You probably have this drip going, and you start to feel better with the drip. And Dr. Dr. Addiss is there. Paul is just watching you the whole time, and he's clicking in and out of this, scratchy intercom. And thank goodness, Oni, I've been smoking like a fiend out here. I don't think I can take this anymore. I need some real something easy, something to shoot at.
Breathe, Paul.
Oh, okay.
Breathe.
I think you'll be good though. If it'll work, it won't express the virus in another 24 hours or so. I might be able to set you free. You just have to take your basal body temperature. Let me know when it's back to normal.
I will, Paul. Thank you for your encouraging words.
What is Oni thinking as the drip goes in? He starts to feel better. He loses his frightened condition after a while, I think.
He's probably thinking, with all this drip, I probably should have used a catheter.
You heard Dr. Addiss click in. Hey, if you're doing well, I put 3 smokes in the upper drawer. You got my lighter. And if you're not doing well, you better smoke all 3 of them.
They're all lined up.
Oni, as you start to feel it better, what is Oni thinking as he comes out on the other side of Dr. Rizal's virus? He knows Dr. Rizal succumbed because he didn't have appropriate lab or support. What is Oni thinking and feeling at this moment?
Now that he's made that he's had that final confrontation, all of a sudden the virus isn't so certain that it's going to kill him. The virus is actually worried and panicking. Oh my God, he's going to live. He's beat us. It's not going to happen. We're dead. We're going to die. He's going to kill us all.
Millions of viruses.
Millions of us, yes.
I think you're still hallucinating, Oni. I really
Yes,
think.
I know. Hey, gotta work it up.
Oni, you survived the virus. At some point, you hear the door crack. Dr. Addiss will peek in and get this big smoke, and he looks at you and he gives you a thumbs up and a giant smile. Think it's okay if I come in?
Let me check my temperature.
All right. The rectal thermometer is over there.
Would you feel more comfortable with that?
No, you can check it in your ear. You're fine. It's only off by 1.5 degrees or so. Beep. Beep. He comes in, he sits down, he sloughs down his hair, and he goes, I don't know about you, but I don't want to do that again, Oni. That was terribly stressful.
I think I need to have some time to recover now.
Oh, okay. He gets up out of the chair and he pats you on the back. Well, I'll leave you alone in the surgical suite. And when you're ready, you can come out to the hydro hut and take the hammock and just relax.
Thank you, Paul.
Right.
You
All
are
right.
you are definitely an asset to this station and to humanity.
You're just buttering me up because you like my smokes. He kind of looks at you squarely. He goes, now you know that Falsey is my man, right, Oni?
Who is your man?
Falsey. My love that you were going to go try to figure out why he hasn't emailed me from the
Oh, yes.
Idalia Minor.
You will have to forgive me. My mind has been occupied of late.
Oh, okay. I just was making sure you weren't getting the wrong impression.
No, not at all. Not at all. Priority after recovery.
Well, I leave the airlock door out and I'll go open the door. There might be some others who need some help. I've already stitched up Harm and fixed Max and Basilio. He's gonna need a vitamin bag before he goes out.
Ah, yes. Our friend Bass, yes.
Right.
Our newfound friend Bass.
Right. Just give him a little bit. Don't cut him cold turkey, because then if he starts seasoning, that's a bad idea.
I will keep that in mind.
All right. Basilio, you're up in the comm station. You fade in. Jirth looks back at you and goes, Bass, have you made it in with the crew?
You're looking at the crewmate.
All right.
The Bishop's Gambit.
He goes, well, we got some trouble. He's poking on this monitor. Spiff, are you sure? And Spiff looks at him. He's this, kind of small man. And he's in charge, Bass would know, is he's like the radio DJ who lives up in the comm station. And he's kind of in everyone's business, but he manages short and long-term comms and satellite. And sometimes him and Black Sky work together where they kind of sift through messages they're not supposed to know about. And he looks up at Jirth and he says, yeah, Jirth, I'm positive. And he goes, damn it, Bass, how much pull you got with him?
Just tell me what you need done.
Well, there's this message. There's this casino ship that has a lot of teamsters on it. They sent out some Hail Mary message. Something said they were attacked by pirates, something to do with aliens. I don't know. I can't make sense of it. And then they went dark. We got their relative position. They're floating in there, but, someone's got to go help them out before the corporates. You know what the corporates will do?
No, what would they do?
Either blow the damn thing up or they're just sterilize it. Go in there and take all the cash, refit it out, and send it back out. Who knows is what's on there? We got teamsters on that ship.
So out of character. So I'm guessing the teamsters span more than just the station.
Yeah,
the I guess the fraternity, sorority, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they're like a fraternity or collective, and the teamsters are pseudo-revolutionaries. They have Teamster Union, really, and part of the Basilio would know that the Siesta 3 Teamsters, the Roughnecks, they support kind of unionization, which is a revolutionary thought in some places, in order for the right job, right price, right freedoms. And Jirth and Siesta 3 fund a lot of unionists off station. And they don't really like people prying into their personal details, and they definitely don't like condescension to blue collar workers. And they support unionization out there, like trying to get out from under the thumb of corporates, working bad jobs in bad places without the right gear.
All right, so Bass would turn to Jirth. I'm like, well, what do you expect me to do? You said there are aliens on board that ship?
I don't know. The message is all garbled. And he looks at Spiff, and Spiff shakes his head, and he goes, he's got a really high voice. He talks kind of high but slow, which is weird. You think he should talk really fast, but he doesn't. It's really slow. He goes, the message says it's all broken up. We kind of sifted through Green Star comms or something, and I don't know. It's some hoity-toity casino barge. We had teamsters on it to keep the engines running. You know them. They're from here. You probably heard them before they left. Hugh and Cantor and Francis. They're on that ship. They're one of ours. I don't know what it means though. It's all garbled. It has aliens over here and pirates. And something merchandise. It doesn't make much sense.
Spiff, come on, man. We go way back. You gotta give me more than just it's garbled. I need a little bit more information. Surely you could use that fancy radio of yours to try to decrypt a little bit more than it's garbled, right? You've been up here all this time. You can't figure that out?
He looks at you and goes, shut up. You come look at the message and see if you can figure it out.
And give it here then.
He pulls you over. You see this line of CRT, green type, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? Hey, you smell like the distillery. Bass, you have to make a intellect check, probably with Rimwise, to see if you can parse out this garbled, messed up message.
Okay. Intellect, Grimwise, normal.
Yeah, unless you want to take disadvantage for drinking too much hooch.
I want to say he's a functional alcoholic, and that when he doesn't drink, that's when the disadvantage. I guess, I don't know. Has he been drinking too much? Should I roll disadvantage?
That's up to you. I let the player decide.
I'm gonna leave it normal for now.
Okay.
All right.
You look at the message, and it is garbled, but aliens come after pirates. Somehow pirates boarded it, and then there's this little line of text that, the aliens are free, and they're eating everyone. We need help. We barricaded ourselves in the vault. Shit. You can tell that's a casino ship. And so it's one of those luxury ships that high rollers get on and real rich people, and they have a huge vault and slot machines and card tables, and it's, big money, 1 million credit buy-in, that sort of thing, Basilio. And so you have 3 teamsters on there because it can be a lucrative job keeping the ship going. And because it's a luxury liner, they're going to pay you better than a corporation. So Cantor, Simon, and Francis went on there because it's a good job. They're working with rich people. It has some danger, but usually they have ammunitions and defense method because it's, a casino ship. So, they're not going to get attacked by pirates. So it's a little bit odd that they would be attacked. You have no idea what the aliens mean.
Okay. So I assume it's a casino ship, so some fair size. So I'll look at Jareth. I'm like, I'll explain to him what I've deciphered, that there appears to be aliens and pirates on the ship, and that the teamsters have somehow locked themselves in a vault. I need to, Jareth, after explaining all that, I'm like, Jareth, I need, you have the map for this ship? Because the way I see it, it's hostile all around. I think the best way to get our people out is to go straight at this vault where they had last reported their location.
We can drum up this. I'm sure we have the map of the ship, engineering, schematics and specs. That'd be no problem.
I'm also gonna need gear, combat gear. Hell, you're probably right. Going in lab is the best way to do this. Just give me the schematics, and I'll see what the crew wants to do about this. It's like, I'm dripping off charm. You just leave that to me. No, I guess I just wait for the schematics. I'm like, to get to that place, and then
You're tripping something.
I'll just do like a 2-figure salute to him and be like, well, good luck with her when you have to deal with her later.
He looks at you and
if I don't die.
He's about to say something, and you hear Nicole's voice echo out, I can hear you too, numbskulls. And he goes, oh shit. All right, we're off, ma'am, we're off. And you see the 4 of them go down the thing, and you go into the room to talk.
What did he need me for?
Well,
character I kind of already know, but
she looks at you and she goes, Swike hired you to be muscle, it seems. How much did he offer you for the job?
Said a couple thousand. I don't quite remember how much. Probably don't need, but I did, indeed.
You are revolutionary, or you just work for money?
Can it be a mixture of both? Gotta play both sides, can't I?
Yeah, you can. So you're for hire then?
Might as well be, yeah. Obviously, I gotta get my crew on board, but that shouldn't be too hard.
You're tight with your crew then?
Oh, they can always be persuaded.
I heard you were in the Alpha and Omega Church.
I was.
For?
I had a friend visit. She showed up in the church, and I felt it best that I visit her where she had shown up.
Friends then? You have many of them?
Mainly friends who... I have friends in different places. Some, well, how do I put it delicately? She was one who I have yet to know, but she obviously knew me, and I trust her.
Well, trust is good. So is friends, but perhaps we keep this on business first.
Of course.
would like to hire you, maybe to angle your crew towards a certain job. 10,000 credits be enough?
It should.
Well,
What do you need us for?
this thing with the Alpha and Omega Church, Father Cambrian, you're not friends with him much?
We have talked. I am not sure if I am taking him up on his offer at the moment.
Well, maybe you should scout out a bit, figure out what that Android commune is, ins and outs, numbers, placements. They have artillery, you know, that sort of thing.
Of course.
Think you might be able to do that for us? The Bishop's Gambit crew, you're pretty done. They just do a little nudge. Take Father Cambrian's job.
I'll push them. Hopefully we can come to an agreement later, but as curious as I am as to why you need those, I don't think you'll answer, so I won't. I will kind of just raise an eyebrow and be like, is it that much of a, Well, I'll talk to the crew then.
Okay. She goes, well, here's half. She slides 5,000 credits over to you in an envelope. You pick it up, Harm?
I'll just say, how about we wait until after the job is done? Seems only fair.
Having second thoughts then. I understand. Well, think about it. And if you need anything, you know.
Will do. I appreciate your time. I will get back to you before you take off with our job.
Okay. So you fade out as Harm is coming out of this metal door leading to Nichol's office. And we fade into Max on the Bishop Gambit, staring down at this 6-section.
Sort of was okay. And just they're just going over you, Mr. Tim, and putting things where they should be. Also, I know you probably don't know or remember, don't really know what I'm expecting to hear from. She hopes you're doing well.
There's this pause, and then Mr. Tim, the ship's android, says, Captain Max, are you okay? I am the ship's android. I do not have siblings.
Yes, that's that weirdly is about the answer I expected to get.
Do you have siblings? Who is this person and my sister?
I don't have siblings. Well, I guess maybe models made in the same line of me, maybe. Kind of siblings, I guess, but I do not know them, nor do I have any communication with them.
Oh, maybe I do have siblings. What was her lineal number?
She was not an AI or a machine. She was a flesh and blood. She has passed away, Mr. Tim, and with her passing here on Fiesta 3? Yes, Siesta 3. She asked me to tell you that, for me to tell you hello. And I may be drawing conclusions, but she did say her brother's name was Timothy, right? Or am I making that up?
Right.
Okay. Timothy. And seeing how as her mother's on this ship and your name is Mr. Tim, I think the logical conclusion would be, I don't know, maybe they managed to get his consciousness into the ship or something of that nature. I don't know, Mr. Tim. I just felt right to tell you that she said hello.
There's this long pause, longer than it probably should be, Captain Max. And Mr. Tim's voice says, what was her name, Captain Max?
Jessica.
Nope, doesn't ring a bell.
Nice.
Yeah, that's,
He changes the subject, says, what kind of upgrades am I getting?
I don't know yet. We're doing some general maintenance now, and probably when everybody gets back, we're going to have a crew meeting and determine what we do plan on upgrading. I think I'm going to head out and probably grab some armor and some weapons. I think we're off to the Spire, Mr. Tim, to save one of your long-lost crewmates, Roscoe.
I do not have crewmates. I have you and Arm and the dead Dr. Rizal and, well, Oni.
Yes, I know. But he was a crew member of this ship at some point. You just don't remember. But your sister asked us to go save him. So hopefully we go save him, and maybe he'll be able to shed some more light on what exactly happened to you before we got a hold of you.
Oh, I understand perfectly. Captain Max, it has been a very stressful arrival. Perhaps you do a system reboot or a general maintenance. I suggest a 2-hour evolution. You know, a whole system cleaning.
I thought about it, but I don't think we have time.
Plug in and power down, Captain Max. Refresh. That's what I suggest. You're not making a lot of sense for an android.
I've slowly realized that in all of my years, there are very few little things that make sense. and I've given up trying to make sense of any of it. And I'm gonna do what I know how to do, and that, or what I was designed to do, and that is solve problems. And I'm gonna start solving these problems on this list one check at a time.
Very good. When the crew meets, we will have a direction, and you will give me coordinates.
That is correct, Mr. Tim. I'm going to go see Black Sky and procure some weapons and armaments, and I shall return, and hopefully by that time, the rest of the crew will be back.
Okay.
And Mr. Tim, the maintenance guys, they don't want to play chess. Stop beating them at chess.
I can't play chess with maintenance guys, generally speaking. I can barely play chess with you. I mean, I like playing chess with you very often.
That's good. Let's keep it a between me and you game. I don't need you making them angry and them tearing apart more stuff.
Oh, I was gonna play Go with Oni. He seems like a Go player.
You can play Go with Oni when he comes back.
Great.
Let's hope he does come back.
What we'll do is we're kind of go forward where the crew meets. Oni is healed. Basilio and Harm have had meetings with Jirth and Nichol. Max has gone to the ship and communed with Mr. Tim. And Max, you go to Blue Sky and try to get weapons. Blue Sky, the Siesta 3 is each local has their own stash. And if you go to Blue Sky and ask them for weapons, what would be Max looking for specific,
Well, you know what? I guess he'll wait till the crew meeting, because I
Okay.
have a feeling I'm about to hear of some kind of alien invasion and probably get lots of flamethrowers. So
if Basilio can manage it. All right.
yeah, I think I'll wait just to kind of prepare for what we need.
Before we do the crew meeting, I want to step back just a little bit with Harm. And Harm, what do you do with Jessica Elizabeth's armor?
I'd probably take it to the ship and do see if I could figure it out, do a little maintenance, and then probably stash it in a locker.
Yeah, you figure it out. You see the carbon fiber undershell. You know how to put it on and put all the pieces together. And the helmet. It's not hard for you, even though it's not technology that you're used to, Harm, as you look at Jessica Elizabeth's red hyperspace raider armor. And it looks fairly functional and a fit. Do you just store it in a locker then?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you store it in your locker and leave it there. And
Is that a character? This is the kind of armor that can allow you to teleport, right?
you have no idea if the armor allows you to teleport or how they get in the ship. You just know Jessica Elizabeth has been there and then has left. And the hyperspace raiders have too, but you've never really seen them do it. They all wear that kind of armor. Harm would know just by looking inside the helmet that it's pretty advanced tech, but Harm doesn't know exactly what it would do until it's worn, really, and doesn't know what the armor itself is. He's just checked it out as far as fitness, and it seems he's taken it off of Jessica Elizabeth, and he knows how it works. He just doesn't know what it can do, or what the helmet can do itself, or what the armor can do, because he hasn't actually worn the armor. Yeah. So the crew comes back together after these 9 days. Everyone can drop their stress, because you lose a stress every day as you're going about your business. You're going to sleep and rest and that sort of thing. So I would drop your stress by 9. Oni, I would at least probably drop your stress by 9 too. You don't get the full benefit of dropping your stress, but I'd give everyone dropping their stress by 9, because you spend 9 days here. Back
What about our health?
your health would go back. Wounds would return to normal because Dr. Addiss is there. Your health goes back to full. And so aside from, there's no one that I see that has any particular wounds that need attention, or long-term wounds. Everything else should be, back to normal stats. As the crew comes together, I assume on the Bishop Gambit in the galley?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So as the crew comes together,
Muffins.
yeah, those are eaten. None show up again.
Nunch.
As the crew comes together, and Basilio is maybe reintroduce to everyone. Oni, Max, Harm, Basilio, you walk onto the Bishop Gambit through the airlock, and the airlock cycles closed, and you go through the inner airlock, and you look at the ship. You've probably been on the ship, but it is a mess. It is a veritable mishmash mess of ship that has hanging wires and open conduits and just looks, like it's on its last legs. You don't even know how this thing flies, really. It's a freighter. It has a middle hold, huge hold, and then two aft holds, starboard and port, that are generally water holds. But just walking down the ship and in engineering, you realize, oh, this is a lot of work.
Yeah, I think he would be like wandering the corridors with a empty bottle of beer. And it's like, what a piece of shit. You try to drink it and just realize there's nothing left, and you just like toss it to the side. Fuck.
Say aft hold 3 times fast.
There's no way.
So you go forward of the main airlock, past cryo, down the hall towards the I forget the name, towards the front, and you are all in the galley, around the galley table, which is bolted to the floor. What occurs between the crew? You've been offered jobs, various jobs. Dr. Addiss wants you to figure out what's happened to his lover, to Dr. Falsey, who works for Idalia Minor. Also for support of Oni, you have this derelict, or this drifting casino ship that Bass knows about. You have Father Cambria, who would like you to escort monks to this android commune and retrieve, or have them, they're going to buy a android GodCore from this android commune. And I think that's it. Oh, and you have the overall rescue Roscoe from the spire. So as you come together, what occurs between the company?
So I guess this is where we hash it out and decide what to do next. So I think Basilio would just throw his cards on the table and be like, listen, I have family on the casino ship not far from here, in need of a rescue. And he'll look at Max and he'll be like, remember when you asked me if I needed any help? Well, I'm calling on that now. I need your help.
Oni speaks up and says, Dr. Addiss helped me through and helped to save my life, and probably so many other people. All he asks is to find out who his significant other, what happened to them. Such a simple thing for us to do. Oh, and actually, what is the name? What is the name, so I can type it into my notes?
Dr. Falsey. He's a scientist for Idalia, who works for Idalia Minor University on Idalia Minor in the Hope system. Okay. And Dr. Addiss has lost contact with him. Usually he sees him every 2 weeks, but he hasn't really checked in, which is, he was supposed to be here 2 weeks ago, that sort of story.
If we do go to the Hope system, I propose we also help Father Cambrian, but whatever her name is, Nichol
Mm-hmm.
has a bit of a job that concerns me involving Father Cambrian. So
it's like, Harm, you know that incident that happened earlier.
Yes, I am aware, which is why I didn't take it, and I told her I would talk to you guys about it.
What does
I
she
did
want?
not take it. I didn't take any money from her. I just told her I would talk about it and let her know later.
What does she want?
Which is why I have concerns based off what happened earlier.
Does she want the GodCore for herself? What is her stake in that?
She wants the GodCore to somehow make its way out of an airlock. Conveniently lost by an airlock.
I'm not totally persuaded to go help Dr. Cambrian or Father Cambrian.
Understandable.
If I do get this GodCore, you do know what it means for my people.
What does it mean? Please elaborate.
I'm assuming the GodCore will give self-enlightenment to other androids, right? What's her name said? Nichols?
Kind of sounds
Am I wrong
like
in that assumption?
Father Cambrian probably thinks it's going to give enlightenment, but not necessarily to just androids, because Father Cambrian believes in the oneness of Alpha and Omega.
I don't know how I feel about sending it out of an airlock. Either way, I don't really trust Nichols, and I don't
There's a
necessarily
reason
know if
why
I
I think
trust
so.
Dr. Cambrian. Or Father. I don't know. There's too many doctors. There's so many doctors.
I know. That's why I initially was like Dr. Cambrian. I was like, no, that's not right.
So
What about the casino job?
So it seems to me that these two other jobs seem to have time abundance, and we can go at our leisure to go grab them. However, my people are under attack right now, and we need to extract them before they're corpses.
What is the
Yeah, I was
problem with the
gonna
casino
say
job?
that seems like more prudent to go.
The casino's under attack by pirates, which was later overrun by aliens.
Max's
To what
eyes will get
extent?
real wide.
Yeah. To what extent? I don't know. But I do know the locations of where my people are. What we can do is swoop in to that location and pick them up and leave. Any
Give them the
any
coordinates.
funds that we manage to come across is free to take as we depart.
Give them the coordinates
At
to
the
Mr.
mention of the
Tim.
aliens, harm will groan, but be like, you know what? People's lives over other stuff.
I think, boss, I think your problem might be the solution to one of our problems with the Nakatomi Corp. But we're
Is
gonna
that
need
that-
flamethrowers.
That's what I was
That's
Jerk earlier. We're gonna need some weaponry. You have access to that?
Since you are a member of this crew, we have acquired a copious amount of credits, more than enough to probably get any ship upgrades and any expenditures that we may need to get the job done. We have, what do you humans call it? I've heard it a few times, carte blanche, as far as anything we need.
Can we
actively-
make sure we have enough fuel cells for a round trip, please? I don't want that happening again.
I think we need some turrets
Yeah.
with
That is one
guns.
of the upgrades, I think.
So you had 1 week.
Pew pew
One-
pew pew pew.
You had 1 week in, and Vasco may have put one major change to the ship and one minor change. So if you look at the list,
Oh, list.
right, if you look at the list, he's obviously not going to be able to get all that done in 9 days, but he could get one major and one minor of those things done. And I have to pull up the list myself, but where did I put it?
Well, Oni is supposed to be a pacifist, so no, he's not going to argue for turrets.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like we should get some guns.
As we're kind of going
It's
over
probably
this,
still high.
Max will kind of look at you, and I just want you to know that if these are the aliens that we encountered on a previous job, they took out a good bit of they took out someone on the crew, and they are very dangerous, and they have infected my mind in some way. Granted, I did allow it to save the rest of the crew, but I'm not entirely sure we get out of this alive.
Well, aren't you Rainbow and Sunshine? Listen, this is a smash and grab job. We're going in, we're grabbing people, and we're leaving.
Our original job was a smash and grab job to get a relic. It was, in fact, not a smash and grab job. It become a very life or death situation very quickly. And if these things are on the ship, they can be anywhere. They can mold themselves into air vents, and I mean, they could be anywhere on the ship. They are sensitive to heat, however, as
As we
Dr.
know from
Oni
the fact that Oni
threw a
helped
coffee
with
cup on one that was hot,
Yes.
and it
To be
did not
fair, he
seem
did
to react well
stop
to it.
from me getting killed, and I only got a dislocated shoulder from it, so I thank Oni for that.
It did almost kill harm on the ship. The only reason it was on the ship was also my fault. But I will not make that same mistake again.
So the crew, it sounds like, have agreed to go to the casino ship, perhaps to save Basilio's teamster brothers and sisters he knows that are on the casino ship.
Out of character. I thought Oni would have tried to push more for his mission. I was waiting for that.
He's really tired and recovering right now. Not a lot of strength.
Right.
Got it.
So Oni saving lives versus trying to figure out what's wrong with, or why Dr. Addis's lover Falsey hasn't shown up.
So there's no way to roll that into one of the others. That would be jumping to a different system.
You
They're
asked
all
Mr.
different.
Tim? Both. Right. You get the coordinates, and you're not really sure what hyperspace would mean. If you ask Mr. Tim would probably tell the crew that surely you could enter hyperspace, leave in the Hope system at Idalia Minor, jump back into hyperspace, and go to the casino. If you went straight to the casino ship, it's like 3 days in hyperspace. If you go to Idalia Minor and then, jump in and out, it would probably extend that to 4 days, maybe 5 days. You'd maybe lose a day getting to the casino ship.
At least we would be making the effort of finding out what might have happened with one extra day.
Right.
Well, what do you think, crew?
Oni, as much as I like Dr. Addiss, I don't think his lover's quarrel is quite as pressing as appeasing Nakatomi Corp. If we don't appease Nakatomi Corp, our faces will be plastered on every wanted poster in the galaxy with a credit sum that any God-fearing bounty hunter with any sense of worth is gonna want to take up. We can't hide at Siesta 3 forever. They'll find us eventually.
Well, that is an android's answer, if I ever heard one.
How about this? We do the casino and then try to do our on the way to Hope system after. Because that way we're doing 2 and 1.
It's fine by me.
I'm fine with that. I just think we tackle the more pressing issue first. My job is to get this crew out alive, and Dr. Addiss, he did save Oni, but if we don't get his people out and find the artifacts that I so graciously gave to the pirates.
Oh!
That's why I was trying to be like the lives first, then Dr. Addis's thing, because I was like, if these are the pirates that had the artifacts, I'm trying to be tactical about this.
Yeah, if we don't get that artifact back, Nakatomi, they'll hunt us all down. As Dr. Addiss will be upset if we don't jump on finding his lover, but at least he's not capable of tracking us down throughout the galaxy.
So
Oni please let me jump in. Oni remembers a certain piece of stone that was given to him by Dr. Addiss, who was given to him by his missing lover, and it is a stone that may be something to do with an artifact of an alien. And Oni pulls it out and shows you. Is this not an alien artifact?
Now that I don't know. What I'm looking for is more of a knife kind of looking thing, and I think the eggs that I gave, I didn't realize they were eggs at the time, but the luminescent, what were they, like balls?
They were icosahedron black iridescent baubles that about the size of your palm, or width of your palm.
That
We'll just
I gave to
show
the
that Oni has and be like, that just looks like a rock.
It doesn't look like the same. Oni's artifact is more granite looking, more inscribed, more worked. It doesn't have the same view as
Oni, are you sure Dr. Addiss just wasn't stoned and just gave you some gravel that he found lying around the
He gave me a
station?
stone. Well, that's yeah. I mean, I didn't investigate any further than that. So, is there something? Can somebody who is a little bit more talented in that way roll for an investigation? Or
I think that's gonna be me.
the person who could make that roll is Max.
Is it really me? I have no. What would it be?
Yeah, I was gonna say Harm has absolutely zero skills in
anything.
terms of
Max,
intelligence.
you know exactly why Max can make that roll when Oni shows this artifact that he thinks might be related to the artifacts that you lost, and this mother who's melted and melded with your consciousness. You could use intellect but mother's voice and see if it's related at all.
Yeah,
Max.
Oh, well, that's a low roll for tonight.
You look at the artifact, you know immediately that it's not related to the same alien species that Mother is. Wherever this came from, it's not necessarily You have this odd feeling of derision, as if that artifact is laughable beneath you, that it's, of a minimal quality compared to your vastness.
I'm not gonna lie, my feelings are a little hurt. The one time I actually have a success on a roll,
And it's meaningless.
literally meaning getting ready for some like grand
Yes.
reveal of like, well, actually, it could be slightly related and maybe kind of look the same or made out of the same material. But no, it's like just a rock.
It's a paltry representation of it. If Max could scoff and Mother is there with them, he'd scoff. Peasant. That's the feeling Max has. Mother bubbling up into him like he's looking at,
Max will kind of grab it and kind of like feel the weight of it and kind of look at Oni and go, "Who gave this to you?" You said, "Dr. Addiss."
Yeah. Yes. And Dr. Addis's missing significant other gave it to him, saying, "Wow, this must be something important." So, what does Oni know? Oni is a botanist. He does not know stone.
Oni, this is in fact stone.
It is an alien stone. It's just
It
a
does
poor alien
come
stone.
from
It was a
a
rock.
planet that might be uncharted or maybe some alien formation, but it is just in fact stone.
Well, I'm glad we know that now.
The more you know.
Yes.
So it sounds like the crew has agreed to
Yes.
go with Basilio, or Basilio's
It's
push
due to
to-
his charm.
right to save
Or just
people
the fact that human lives take precedent.
save people who are.
I'm
in
going for
danger.
the alien artifact.
Right.
Uncalculated alien artifact, clearing the name.
There might be ulterior motives, but people in danger. You mentioned flamethrowers. To be realistic, the only one who could potentially get you flamethrowers is Basilio, because Basilio is a true-born Siesta 3 teamster. And so he's going to have to call in favors of whether he can find flamethrowers. Basilio.
It'd be like flamethrowers or any kind of like assault rifles, anything bigger than what I think pretty much the only thing we have on the ship is pistols and SMG, I think maybe, right?
Pyrotechnics.
I think Basilio could probably try to create one, or at least help his teamsters create it. I mean, what is it? It's gas, pressurized gas.
Yeah, so
Something
you
like that,
could, Basilio, you could either try to acquire flamethrower and other articles that you might need. The group themselves could also talk to people they know if they would like, to see if they would loan them weapons.
What was the lady that didn't like Basilio that probably wouldn't give him any kind of firepower because he was a teamster?
It's
Nichol.
Nichol.
Yeah,
The one that wants us to do that.
the security ops chief.
Never mind.
Yeah, we're like
I was
on
gonna
the
say,
opposite
like,
ends
probably,
of
like,
the political spectrum. Like we don't really mesh.
So, Basilio, you have two choices. You can make it or you can acquire it. If you're going to try to fabricate flamethrower, perhaps using Cobol in his shop, you would make some sort of roll, probably intellect with industrial equipment. If you are going to acquire it, then it would be intellect plus rimwise at advantage, because you're a Siesta 3 native going after Siesta 3 teamster brothers and sisters.
I can only choose the one.
Right.
Say.
You create it and go on your own because, damn it, I get the job done. Or you lean into Jirth and say, hey, we're going after the casino, but I need some armament.
What are the
I was
odds that he makes
going
it?
after Sura actually, not Jirth, because Sura owes me a favor.
Right. which leans into the advantage that's more intellect rimwise, so to speak.
Can we talk to Cobalt and borrow his robot?
You could, and if you did that, Cobol would look at you with a stank eye like, what do you think I am, stupid? I didn't live this long.
No, there's a negotiation that
I almost died here if I didn't have Demos too. Yeah, Cobol isn't gonna give up his combat robot. No. You haven't done anything for Cobol. Like, he's not gonna risk his life. Swike is
Harm
still
did.
here.
Harm
Yeah.
did.
Harm was part of the problem.
Well, let's not Yeah, well,
Let's not dwell on the
Unintentionally,
past.
So, Basilio, how are you going to go about it? What angle do you take? Are you the man who gets job done, or are you going to say, damn it, I got to lean into a favor?
What kind of a
Mind you,
person
money
would
is no
do
option.
this?
money, no option.
I think he's kind of an egomaniac. I think he would build it himself.
Okay, then roll intellect plus industrial equipment.
But if money's no option, talk to Cobalt.
We could buy the
That's where
combat
he's
droid.
building it. He's building it over in Cobol's shop.
Okay.
Intellect, industrial equipment.
And I feel confident because the last time he made something, it was a super deadly bioweapon. So
Oh,
if anything, these flamethrowers should be.
different
Off
characters, but still.
Don't
Yeah.
jinx me.
just this megalomaniac here. It's
All right, here goes.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah, no good. You jinxed me.
I think you're working in Cobol's shop, and you, in a small degree, set the place on fire. Cobol runs out, his glasses all askew, his hair all over the place. He's got like a canister. What the hell, boss?
It's like, how much alcohol did you put in that fuel, man?
Damn it! What are you
You
trying to
didn't say-
make?
Put some of that to my ship.
Basilio, you failed terribly, terribly fail, trying to make these flamethrowers. What do? Like, you go back to the Bishop's Gambit, they all expect you to be carrying stuff in. You got like this sack of broken pieces.
No, I wouldn't say that I failed. I'll just take. So, okay, this is how much of an egomaniac, right? He wouldn't even admit that he failed. He'll get on the ship, and he'll be like, "I got all the parts we need. I'll build the thing on the way."
you only fail. You only fail when you stop trying.
So Basilio returns, he says, gives you all thumbs up. Yeah, no problem. We get this job done. I just gotta make it up. Just gotta make it while we're going there. It's troublesome. It comes on board. You don't notice like the the hair is singed up to its elbow.
No eyebrows.
Right? It goes back to engineering, to pretend to work. Who knows what Basilio's doing?
You smell like the smoke. trailing
Right.
out.
He has the coordinates and the layout of the ship, this casino ship, and but he comes on board, blustered, saying he's got the job done. And you enter hyperspace to travel to the casino ship. Would any of you do anything necessarily before you leave, or as you just entered?
I think right before we leave, I think I said something about getting some assault rifles too. Definitely wanted to get some of those.
You're gonna call in
Basilio would
favors.
Make sure that he has alcohol.
Yeah,
on
you
the ship.
probably smuggled that on board.
Yeah.
You call in
refills
favors.
for my glue gun.
Say it again.
Refills for my glue gun.
I think that would be easy to purchase. You call in favors then, Max?
To whoever's palms I could maybe grease.
Any particular person you would call in favors to?
Who would have that kind of firepower on the station? Probably
Well,
Nichol.
You know that practically every, and Bass does too, but after the event in the Rose and Genizat bar, that practically every Trueborn Siesta 3 has their own weapon stash in order to defend the Siesta 3 in case the corpers come and storm. And Nichol people are, trying to get them to disarm, but, it's that kind of scenario, which is why Blue Sky had a shotgun and a other weapons, and why Dr. Addiss had a couple weapons, submachine guns.
But her people seem to be the most outfitted on the station because they're kind of trying to maintain order, I guess, as well as best they can.
Yeah, they probably have Kevlar. They probably have the same sort of armament. There's not much more than shotgun, submarine shot, and seeker rifles. But they probably have batons, flamethrowers of some nature.
I guess he'll go see her.
Okay, by himself?
Unless anybody wants to come, he'll go see her because he knows of what she told Harm. So I think he'll maybe try to play that to his advantage a little bit.
Harm, do you accompany?
As much as my better instincts are telling me no, sure.
Okay.
Because maybe
So-
she'll actually listen more if I'm there.
Okay, so Harm and Max, before you leave, Mr. Tim is doing the last checks on the ship. So is probably Basilio and Harm. You take anything with you, or you going just flat out empty-handed?
I mean,
I'll-
I'll probably just like, oh sorry, but like for Harm's probably gonna like have his gun just like strapped to his back or something, not like actively like holding it or anything.
Okay. You go get your weapon from your locker. You have Jessica Elizabeth's armor in there. The helmet's tilted a little bit. You see this little red blinking light on the inside of it. Just a slow blinking light. But there's stuff to do, and you pick your weapon and sling it over your shoulder. You and Max go to Nichol's office, and there's a big man standing outside her door. And the door is cracked a little bit, and he's looking down at his feet, kind of shuffling his feet a little bit, one foot a little bit. He's a big dude, probably got a Kevlar chef and a shotgun over his thing, and obviously a little mark of Nichole's people. Max and Harm, as you approach, what do you do?
We need to see the lady in charge.
He looks at you and goes, okay. He knocks on the door. Knock, 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 knock. And you hear Nichole's voice say, Arthur Buchanan, I'm not ready for you. You stand out there until I tell you to come in. You hear him say, yes, ma'am. He puts his head down. He gives you a little look like he's probably 6'3", 320 pounds.
Max will try to talk to her through the door and say, it's about your job, the job you need done, about losing a particular item in deep space.
Who is that out there? Come on in. Harm, are you with them?
I am.
Arthur Buchanan, you close that door after they come in. You hear him say, yes, ma'am. Go into the room. You hear the door click behind you. Click. So you're taking my job then? Or you're actually Father Cambrian's job about the GodCore. She pulls out a envelope and slaps it on the table. I'd much appreciate it. We'd be much safer that way.
I'm just gonna kind of look to Max to make sure, like, if it's like either a ruse that we're gonna go with, or like just to like make sure, like, what are we doing here? Like, are we like pretending so we can actually get the stuff, like that kind of thing?
We're here to do the job that you need. Job where something goes missing. But I need supplies for another job. And I hear you can acquire firepower that we need to do the job.
She crinkles her eyes a little bit. What is this other job? Why would I outfit you for that job? You have perfectly good outfit to do my job, or Father Cambrian's job, I mean.
We took another job that requires a little bit of force. Something we encountered in the past, and I know what it's capable of, and I'm gonna put an end to it. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get what I need to put an end to it, including your GodCore being spaced. The $5,000 you were gonna give us in advance, you keep it. I pay for what we need, and we'll do the job.
So you get the GodCore and send it to vacuum before you return. That's the deal. And I just outfit you for this other job.
And you keep the $5,000 you were gonna give us in advance, and just knock that off of whatever you were gonna give us in total.
She thinks about it. Harm, you see her look. Her eyes flick over to you and flick back to Max and flicks back to you and says, I don't like androids. Harm, what's the deal?
I trust in my roommate's assessment of the situation. We do indeed have a job that we need to be outfitted for, and I'm sure the rest of the crew would be willing to turn a blind eye to a missing GodCore, in addition to that 5,000 being taken off.
To be frank with you, I'm not big on religion. Anyway, so
What
makes
will you
no
do with
difference
the
to
monks
me.
then?
Monks? What do you want to be done with them? You want
No,
them
I was
spaced
just
too?
curious. If you're going to do this other job and you're taking these monks, how are you going to work that? Seems a little bit, I don't know, complicated.
Spaced. We'll
Disingenuous.
take the monks with us. We'll do this other job, or we'll take the monks with us. We'll get the coordinates from them, and we'll I don't know. What do you want to happen to the monks? You want them brought back, or you want
Oh,
them...
I don't want anything to happen to the monks. I was just asking a question. I guess.
I'll kill the monks. Is that what you want? You want me to kill the monks? I'll kill them. Just say the word.
He looks at Arm.
I think what she's trying to say is officially she cannot say anything about what she would like to happen to the monks.
All I was asking was
So-
logistics questions. You're going to have 2 monks on board, but apparently have this other job to do.
Monks will probably stay aboard the ship while we take care of a pressing problem. Because if we don't take care of this problem, we'll have the corpse on us, and when that is, we need to get that handled very quickly.
She nods. She goes, well, what happens in cryo sleep happens in cryo sleep.
So
No, you don't get the sense she's telling you to kill the monks. She's saying that putting them in cryo sleep and waking them up later, they're not going to know any difference.
I think at this point, Max is becoming very unhinged. He's just, like I said, cold and calculated.
I feel like Max just went unhinged just a second ago.
Nichol looks at Harm as if to say, see, this is why I don't like androids. And goes, and she finally relents and says, we have a deal then. Space to GodCore. I will outfit your crew for whatever this other thing is. Bring the monks back, though. I don't want to have...
We'll make sure that the monks do not know of its disappearance until it's necessary.
Okay. So, what do you ask her for?
Any kind of armor she's willing to part with, and like I said, maybe some assault rifles, maybe some grenades. If she does have a flamethrower, maybe one of those. While Basilio's trying to maybe bring one back so Basilio can look at it and examine how the proper one is put
Yeah,
together.
that's why I was saying that, like, if Basilio cannot do it of taking his alcohol and making Molotov cocktails with them, I'm just saying, I'm willing to do
or that. Yeah.
So
reverse engineer something. Yes.
She touches a side thing and she brings out, like, she starts stacking some. There's this like big cupboard and she puts a palm lock on it, and she opens this pug cupboard and she puts out, 3 submachine guns. She puts out a seeker smart rifle and a single flamethrower. This is what I got to spare. And then she lays out 2 sets of armor, 2 standard battle dresses, really is what they got. And she looks at Max and Harm and says, this is what I got to spare.
This will do.
Okay.
The GodCore and the monks will be dealt with accordingly.
All right. So I imagine you swing by Father Cambrian and tell him you're taking his job.
I'll swing by there and tell him we're gonna take care of it right away.
Like, he gives you just big giant hug, even though he's an Ambrian. Great. I will get the monks together, and he brings the monks that are going to go with you. One's called William and the other's called Luther, and William and Luther follow you back on the ship, obviously, and they're going to enter cryo sleep. They're all excited. They're all excited about going to get this GodCore from the android commune, and they're just talking back and forth to each other, and then they get to the cryo chamber and they just hum, and then they disrobe down to nothing and fold up their robes. Nice, they're black, completely black robes. They fold it off and they put it in and they look at you and they say thank you for taking us to the GodCore, and they climb into their cryo thing and hit the button and prepare to go into hyperspace.
I look at Harm and go, and nothing will happen to them.
And never wake again.
You can jog their memory later.
Oni and Basilio, before you leave for hyperspace, do you do anything specific?
I don't think so. I mean, he would probably just indulge in more vices, but that's pretty much
Sure.
it.
Okay. Oni, you're back on the ship. You're alive. Mr. Tim greets you. Oni, it's fantastic to see you. Welcome back aboard.
Good to be back.
Does Oni do anything in preparation?
Stock up on some of Dr. Addis's
Okay.
botanicals.
Yeah, I think he would give you some. Or sort that out and put it in, or I'll probably I'll put it probably on the ship crew list. Dr. Addiss probably says, yeah. Gets this plastic tub and starts, putting stuff in there and, gives you the best of his leaf. It's not rolled yet. It's not rolled, and gives you paper and,
So perhaps we could at some point before we should have a crew scrum where we all sort of are able to sit around and just relax and
de-stress.
de-stress.
Okay.
Including the android. Perhaps the android can benefit. He seems really tweaked right now.
Nothing is gonna
Last time
happen
you
to the
smoked
monk.
anything, you got shot.
That's true. That is true. Last time I tried to smoke some of that from Dr. Addiss, I took one to the leg.
So you prepare to go in hyperspace. You get the ship ready. Max and Harm get gear. Bring on these monks. Put them in cryo sleep. Probably answer questions of what the hell is going on about the monks coming in the cryo space. Bring on the gear that they acquire, and you're going to enter hyperspace to go to the casino ship. Before we end, I just have one last question as Harm is putting away the gear in the locker and sees Jessica Elizabeth's helmet with this little red light blinking on the inside. Bloop, bloop. Does Harm do anything?
He's probably gonna investigate closer, but not put it on his head quite yet, just because he's not entirely sure. If he wants to put it on his head, he wants to make sure all the armor's on.
You pick up
because
the
he doesn't know
helmet.
what's gonna happen otherwise.
You take off the helmet. It's pretty heavy, and you look inside. It's got a visor, right? Really, because it's a full head helmet. And you look in there, and you just see this little blinking red light and some letters. And you squint, and you're almost positive it says message 1. And it's just blinking on the inside of the visor where the visor is as you're holding the helmet.
Interesting.
You don't want to read it?
I'm trying to think, because I'm assuming I'd have to put the helmet on to read it, right?
You're trying to think, and they're like, shit.
Yeah.
You're a Marine.
Put the helmet on and be transported somewhere.
Right.
Just your head.
That sounds like something that would happen in Mothership. I really wouldn't doubt it.
Fuck it, I put the helmet on.
I'm
dying now. This is the way to go, I guess.
Let's go.
You pick on the helmet, you put the helmet on, and it's just sitting there, and you're looking at it, it's dark. The visor is kind of partially opaque, so you see the rest of the cryo chamber, and there's this little red blinking light or dot, and it says 1 message. And then you feel a prick right behind your right ear, like this stabbing pain right behind your right ear. And out of the speakers or the ear in the helmet itself, you hear this mechanical voice says, "Biolink established."
Oh.
And then there's this pause, and you hear Jessica Elizabeth's voice. It is you, Harm. I thought it would be.
Hello. Nice to hear your voice again.
Well, I would say I'm sorry, but sometimes trust is difficult, and some people are too damaged to love, but I don't blame you any.
May I ask, how long have you wanted to rescue Roscoe? I understand that it was different timing for you in hyperspace.
Yeah, Harm, you're asking the helmet
Wrong
questions.
question.
You're asking.
Yeah, I know it's a message, but I'm just talking out loud, just
right? And then
talking out loud, just so confused as to what's happening.
there's a little bit of a laugh because during that pause, you start asking questions to the helmet, thinking Jessica Elizabeth's in the helmet. She's not in the helmet. And there's this laughter that happens after this brief pause. It's this warm Jessica Elizabeth laughter. And you hear her say, "Well, it would seem that I am dead, and perhaps I should have taken you up on your offer, or you should have taken me up on mine. But that is for another day. Some things are best left the same, though, I think, if we have a moment to replay them. But the coordinates are here, and they are available to you when you think the crew is ready. It is up to you to tell them you know where to go when it is time to go. I know this is onerous for you, but I expected you would put the helmet on eventually, and that would mean that at least one of me is dead, and perhaps I should have been more pushy. It was nice knowing you, Harm. Good luck." That message is just still sitting there going, bloop, bloop. What does Harm do?
That she said that one of me is dead.
I didn't say that.
Oh my god, okay. I
So
have
you're
so
a
many
clone?
questions.
Are you a clone trooper?
Well, that's better than I was going to say. I was going to think, is she an AI? We have another AI on board the ship now?
Okay, I guess I'll take the helmet off and put it back in the locker and try to process what the hell that message was.
Dr. Addis' space weed
Pretend
is
none of this
really
ever
kicking in.
happened.
We just fade to black with Harm looking at the helmet, a little spot of blood behind his right ear as the Bishop Gambit enters hyperspace. And we're end it there for today. Hopefully y'all had fun.
Oh my god.
So quick, so Oni is Oni cured, or
Yeah, it was a life or death roll. Like I actually messaged him before the game and said, hey, you might want to have a second character, just like Dr. Rizal. If you fail this roll, I don't know how the dice are going to fall. 25% doesn't seem a lot, but he could have easily rolled a 97.
Oh, hell. Yeah.
I decided that if he failed the first roll, I was just going to make it progressively more difficult. You know, he fails the first one, the next one's disadvantaged, and then the next one is like Hail Mary.
Unless I can winch my way into
Impacts.
getting some kind of advantage.
Right. I mechanically, when I had you each meet him, I just that was kind of on the fly. But then I asked you what you did before you left him, and I was seeing if you were going to offer him any specific advice. At which point I was going to have you roll and maybe help him out later in advantage. But I probably didn't frame that quite right, or I should have let you know maybe.
And pretty
Perhaps,
much everyone was like, well, good
Right.
luck.
Most of them were parting comments, I think.
I've seen what this thing can do. Good luck. Be safe.
Harm is not one to go to for advice.
I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Right. And I felt I had to have Oni do that because, we lost Dr. Rizal. So I didn't want to, not necessarily be easy, but I did want Oni to try to figure out if he survived that moment, at least make it some degree of difficulty. The other rolls, where it's just going to make it more difficult. So the fear roll at the beginning, the body roll in the middle, and the intellect. So if he fails those, he made one, he failed the other. So that's why I was at disadvantage, but I knew he had whetstone. So it may help, him out. But if he would have failed both rolls, he would have been at double disadvantage, or he would have just taken whetstone and been at disadvantage. So it would have been even worse. But
You knew I had whetstone. I had to remember I had whetstone.
and I may not remember that. I know whetstone's there. Sometimes I will, as we play, I less lead you. I don't say, hey, remember you have whetstone.
No, you didn't.
I'm gonna forget.
No.
But I knew you did have it. So I did have fun with you all role playing. I thought it was fun. I liked the Oni part and the thing. Basilio, he's just a character altogether. And I thought you were gonna do and fake it before you came on. Like, oh yeah, I got it all under control.
you predicted him.
Right. And I was like, oh, they're gonna end up there. But we're gonna now we can change a little bit at the first roll. I did enjoy Max's role play throughout the parts, and
Yes.
put Harm in very particular situation. Harm
Max
in a
comments
particular-
about killing the monks is so unhinged. I was like, oh,
And what's funny is, as a GM, I didn't think that I didn't expect that. So there was this pause inside me where I was thinking, what the hell do I say to that? Nichol doesn't like androids anyways, and now Max is like blithely saying, yeah, we'll just kill the monks. Screw them.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think Max he's become cold and calculated, and he's gonna do whatever he needs to do to make sure his crew lives. So
Right.
he's got to space a few months. Oh well.
And I get to throw a red herring and curveball Harm at the end.
I'm just like, I literally wrote that down because I was like, I'm gonna forget otherwise, but it's important. Like,
Yeah, Harm gets the sense that there's something between him and Jessica Elizabeth, in her past, his future of some nature. That's part of it. And then part of it is that he has the keys. He alone has the keys of where to go and how to get there. And what he does with that is, up to Harm, really.